right, check it out. We are recording again. Had a little bit of a longer break, but kind of like getting into a new season. So we're back at it. Coach Tyler, Coach Purdy. I'm gonna go ahead and start. I don't know if you noticed on like Anchor, like it has like season 1 or season 2, like when you like the number of episodes. So I've always kept everything season 1 because it was all last year through summer. Yeah. So I figure since we're about to start into a new school year, I was thinking about calling this
Season 2.
Season 2.
Oh, we can start doing that, and then people get like super excited. Like, are you ready for season 2?
Yeah. So kind of like I just kind of thought we'd do that. So I thought that'd be kind of neat. So we'll call this the first episode of season 2. Yeah. Back to school. You just mentioned high school football just started.
Neither of us actually knew it happened until the day of. So.
Yeah, and then somebody was asking if I was going to the game. I was like, no, it's my last weekend before school starts. So I was like, nah, maybe when my kids get into high school, it might be a bigger deal. And
we were driving back from dinner, and someone was like, "Hey, Burns is beating or Greer's beating Burns," and I was like, "And what?" And they're like, "Football," and I was like, "Huh? Like they're not even in school yet."
Yeah, but, so that's kind of a weird thing. And then I saw somebody, whatever people, I won't name them this time, waiting for it, but he posted this thing on like, well, so and so will be good, so and so will be this, and so and so will be blah blah blah, and I was like,
I know what you're talking about.
But I was like, who cares? Like, not to diminish any of you that are in football, high school football currently. When I say who cares, I'm talking about the adult population who is out of school, out of college, like has long past that and has no children in the game and stuff like that. It's like, it's always been weird to me, like the fan of high school football that treats it like it's college or professional. Yeah. Like, and talks about it that much and everything else. And there are a lot of people that do it. And
some of us, those who can't get rid of their glory days.
I think that's part, and that's the part that gets me. I don't mind the person that's like into stats, maybe, like the baseball person that's a statistician and they like it for that number and they can follow. But that almost fanatic fan that is like too caught up in it. Because at the end of the day, my problem with being that caught up in it is like, and I know college football is still kids, but like, guys, these are kids that are in school, and yes, they deserve attention, and it's a great thing, but
they have to raise their hand to use a bathroom during the day.
We don't need to, like, put them on a pedestal of such that, like, I don't know, it's just a weird thing to me. To, like, you're still, like, children, and, I don't know, children, sports, and all that kind of stuff. It is a weird world. We were just talking to my wife about it since she's volunteered to coach youth soccer and some of the new crazy rules. And, like, I don't know, man, like the direction of sports. And I was having this discussion with somebody else. And we're kind of heading down a way that I wasn't even planning on going with it. He's looking at our list of stuff. Hey, Pika. But I wasn't even planning on going there with all this. But, like, just sports in general is crazy. Still gonna keep coaching, still gonna do what we do, but it's just, I don't know, man, there's just so many, I don't know, the crazies out there.
I think that's one thing that our sport's been kind of, I would say immune to, is all you hear the tail slapping the chair.
Yeah, for those of you not watching, my dog's tail is slapping the chair.
But I think that's one thing that's made our sport kind of immune to all these ludicrous rules of, like, the mercy rules and all that. It's simply because in our sport, you cannot BS it. You can't sit there.
Yeah, no.
It's very cut and dry. It's very black and white. The winners, the tougher, the one who's more gritty, the most technical. They're going to win more times than not. And, and that's like one thing that we've noticed. We've never, outside of being called discriminating against hair, maybe. We've never had an issue with having to conform to new rules to make everyone feel included.
Yeah, but
although we still do that.
I mean, that being said, though, like, and I love our sport, but it doesn't change the fact that there are still crazy parents.
Yeah,
even in our sport and stuff. And I think that's where I'm kind of like almost more at with all this. Like, man, the craziness of different things is just kind of it's just kind of crazy, for lack of a better term. But also at the same time, it will lead into what. So I was going to throw a rant episode out there, but I gave my man some time. So I was listening to Tyler's other podcast, and I guess, I was thinking about it. I don't do a separate podcast necessarily on my own. Like Tyler has a whole separate podcast. It's just a different podcast. Yeah. I do some separate episodes, and Tyler does as well, and we both put them on here as our subcast, which I really like. So I'm going to continue doing those, but at the same time, it almost is kind of like
Yeah.
a podcast network or a family of episodes. Like, hey, come check out our sister show or brother show or however you want to phrase it. So I was listening to his show and I was going to post something like, check out Tyler's show. I'm going to rant and yell at him and Quasi because they're both morons right now. And I waited because I was like, I need to listen to the other show. And I'm about halfway through the latest show where at least they did fix that in the beginning. And I was like, good God, all right. Henry Cejudo, I apologize to you. Like, I was yelling at the thing. And I was like, no, he's an Olympic gold medalist. And
see, and that was one thing. I've always remembered him being the Olympic gold medalist. And I was like, I thought he was the only one in UFC history, actually. Actually, no. I think there's been one other.
Olympic gold?
Yeah.
I mean,
there's been, I know there's Cejudo, you've had...
Sarah McMahon was an Olympic silver medalist.
She was a silver, I'm talking about gold.
Judo was, I don't know, but Ronda Rousey was an Olympic bronze medalist. I don't know who...
Mark Schultz, was he ever
in the UFC?
For the very, very, very beginning, though.
Okay. So yeah, there is that time of when UFC, was it still UFC or was there other things? I think Matt Lindland fought for a little bit and I mean, there was a bunch of guys that were Olympians, but I don't know who all was gold that fought in the UFC. So to have that gold medalist, have now also be a
champion,
current gold medalist,
super
who. I'm trying to think of how to transition into all this because I was still wanting to yell at you and Quasi and this whole thing. It was quite fun. Anyway, so that was the first yell at, and then and like we were talking about so fans from football, and we have fanatics, you have casual fans, and you have diehard fans, and it's one of those weird things. And you guys were talking about it because he was talking about Demetrius Johnson, who he was calling the GOAT, and which is, I'm going to go off on another quick side rant. Quit calling people the GOAT, Quasi.
Right.
You quit calling people the GOAT. You call a lot of people the GOAT. The GOAT means greatest of all time. You can't have more than one GOAT, okay?
Yeah.
Stop. Love you, Quasi. But you call a lot of people the GOAT, and just because you have somebody who is the GOAT, which I'm going to argue, I don't think he's the GOAT, current or not, the greatest of all time. Even, because if you take the greatest of all time, are you just talking about at his weight, or are you talking about in UFC in general?
Well, see, now they're calling TJ Dillashaw the GOAT, and I don't like that. And the problem with calling Demetrius Johnson,
I think to call somebody the GOAT has to be retired. They have to be done. They have to establish that they were the GOAT, and they.
So I feel they should be towards the twilight of the career almost. Although I'm close to calling Kyle Snyder one of the GOATs.
Okay,
that's reasonable.
Yeah.
But no, for Demetrius Johnson, my thing is he's never fought anybody that was that good. The division's weak, and then everyone makes the argument, well, that's not his fault.
So would he? Does UFC have pound for pound rankings?
Yes, they do.
Who's top pound for pound?
He was top pound for pound for the longest time.
Okay.
But the problem is he doesn't really. The people he fights are not the big name guys, and that's why he wants the big name money. But at the same time, he
said that he doesn't want to be the main card because he doesn't want to be the reason why it doesn't sell out and things like that. And
he was complaining about not having a main event at one point.
Well, that's because you don't promote it. And here, what Quasi was getting at was if he's the GOAT, you make him the GOAT. You shove that person. I'm the bottom line is with the UFC is it doesn't matter to them if he is the GOAT or not. What matters to them is who's going to sell tickets, and they're not going to invest money to make the GOAT. The GOAT in the eyes of the fans because it's going to cost them more money to do that than what they might possibly get back from it. And then, whereas you have somebody else that they can put minimal advertising in because all they need is a couple sound bites and splice together, and they've got record sales on something. So, and I think, and I get what Quasi is saying, and he's from that purist mindset, and he is a diehard fan and whatnot, and he wants to see those things. And you were saying it, and you were explaining the casual fan versus the diehard fan. It's the casual fan that runs the show for anything like that, and that's just the way it is. You be your diehard fan, and you support what you think, but at the end of the day, when it's an entertainment value, they're gonna go with the masses. And I think it's just also a money game, and that's always been my downfall with the UFC is how the ranking systems and all that. So if there was a tournament style thing, which we talked about before, I think I'd be more on board with that. But at the same time, though, I also didn't think he was the GOAT because of you said, who he's fought and stuff. And then also, I was glad to see our Olympic gold medalist take him out, and we got another wrestler in there.
Yeah, everyone thought I was bananas for thinking that. But the thing about Demetrius Johnson is, I mean, it's no disrespect to him, but he can't draw a dollar if you give him a green crayon. I mean, he's just not that interesting.
It's the charismatic and it's the character of people. Yeah. And this is another thing that you guys were talking about was like fight or flight nature, blah, 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 which is a weird thing to say about a fighter. It's not that he doesn't have that fight nature in him, but that's the way he is. But beyond fight or flight and adrenaline and things like that, there's also something that is severely personality driven. Mm-hmm. Whether you are a red, blue, or green, or what they call a hub, like I was taking some classes, like just different personality types will do different things, and it's just that just as much as fight or flight is intrinsically built in who you are and how you do things. Can you grow? Can you change? Can you evolve? Yes, to an extent. Sometimes, like after you have kids, somebody might go from a red to a hub, or there are life altering things that will change you. But also at the same time, that's your personality, and it's just not who he is.
Yeah.
And
you can't put him in that box to make him.
And you can't make him do that. Like if you did, it would be forced, and people wouldn't recognize it as genuine, and then it wouldn't work as well either. Okay?
Exactly.
So that's what my whole point was. Should they do it to him?
No.
Maybe they should, in the sense of because he is great, but again, that is in 15 to 20% of the viewers' eyes. Like they should be doing this for him. Now, at the same time, they're not going to because of the money thing, and you can't force them to if it's not his personal. You can't put that square peg in that round hole. It's not going to work with him. And that's what I was thinking about with that whole argument you guys were having. I was like,
and I could tell you his argument too. He said you can't put a square peg in a round hole. He'd be like, well, make the round hole square. And I'd be like, come on, man.
But at the same time,
it's just going in circles.
Then you're not getting to the point of what we're looking at. Either it's not. Then you're promoting something that's not Demetrius, or the company is changing. The company is not going to change for him. So. That's where I was with all that kind of stuff. So I was kind of arguing with you guys.
Yeah.
Which was kind of fun to argue with you guys without being there, because I was like, oh wait, I'm not on the show right now. I'm driving.
We should have all three of us on.
We need to So we'll have a show there, and I think what I want to do is I think I might actually do some more podcasts, like maybe after listening to you, and just like some kind of off topic, and that's what our subcasts kind of are, off wrestling topic, and throw that out there and just kind of wait for a rebuttal. So if I can't be there, I'm gonna hit you guys up with something. Hey, and it's kind of like when TV shows or comic books, since I'm a comic book fan, do that crossover.
Yeah.
So hey, to hear what we're arguing about, because actually think about it, like that's what happens. Like I was listening to Brendan Schwab. No, it wasn't Brendan Schwab. It was Devin's playing.
Oh, I was like, what is that?
Kel Shannon argue with
Rogan.
No, not with Rogan's guest. Who was it? The
recently or
this summer. But so you go listen to one podcast to find out what Chael's response was to this, and it's kind of a back and forth. And then it was on Rogan's show, and they were kind of like all going back and forth on these things. And it was just kind of fun to banter, because they were arguing, but they did still respect each other and stuff. But that was like bits
I know exactly what you're talking about, because people thought they were like, oh, these guys hate each other, jokingly, but like. But no, I know what you're saying. It's like
you have a triangle. It was this same argument of diehard versus casual fan, and that was kind of part of it. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Has his own show now. Did you know that?
I heard him talking about he has. I know he was talking about doing it, and then
it's not a podcast quite yet, but he'll just make little quick videos.
Because he said he hadn't been on in 2 years or something like that. So.
I gave him one of those microphones that we got.
Yeah. So we do that, so we might have another show, and we can kind of network a family of shows. So I'm kind of thinking outside the box right now.
Yeah.
Kind of nothing that you guys really care about. So this is more for us, but I think we're going to kind of network. We'll create a little brand.
The Cerebros Wrestling Network.
Yeah, and we'll create a little brand, and I'll throw a little logo. Oh, which one?
I gotta talk to you about something kind of cool. I might can say it on here. Actually, I don't know. I don't want to spoil it, but a guy that I used to know, he was a manager at an old job I had, worked for Fox Radio. Was mentioning, he was like, if you pay X amount, you can have an hour each day on the show, and I think it equated to like $150 a month.
Yeah.
And he was talking about because he does so many different sports, and it's mainly just him. And he's like, I know nothing about anything, as far as the combat sport world goes, and he was telling me to think about it, and he's like, if y'all are interested, let me know.
Yeah.
So maybe.
Cool. but then I got to send our logo to one of my former students who does some great 3D animation stuff. So we might have for those of you who watch our show on YouTube, like some other cool effects. So just kind of jazz things up. But yeah, maybe we'll come up with a little network thing going on, which would be kind of cool and kind of fun. So kind of expanded upon just two guys talking, one podcast, growing to multiple things. So hey, that's where we're headed. That's what we want to do for you guys. You guys keep following, keep liking, subscribing, whatever. Hit us back up with some feedback. All that's greatly appreciated. Now, the other thing you guys were arguing about, and which will segue into wrestling talk.
Yeah.
Is that what we were gonna coin phrase? Wrestling talk.
Wrestle talk.
Wrestle talk.
Wrestle talk.
We'll get to wrestle talk. All right. So they were talking about criteria versus overtime, and there really wasn't an argument. I think you guys just started talking about it, and
it's it's something
I think it kind of led down a different path than I think Quasi was initially asking, because he was asking, what do you think about criteria versus overtime, and you guys started talking about folk style and like dual formats and like how to get down to that, and I think there is no other way to do it other than criteria.
I think what he was talking about, I think he was individual.
I think that's what he was getting at but you guys went down that rabbit hole of that, the way that is. So I think folk style wrestling is fine the way it is, the way it has overtime. I don't mind it. It's can it be a game depending on who you get to? When you get into coin tosses, choose bottom, choose top, whichever. When it gets to that far into it, I actually like criteria.
I'm torn.
I think that maybe the criteria might need a change on who wins, but I like the fact that at the end of the match there is a clear given winner, and I think that all overtime is knowing that if I don't score, then it goes on to something else. So it pushes that last. You have 1 minute. I think when you have criteria, when you come down to the last minute of a wrestling match, you know what the score is. You know what it is. You have your overtime match kind of like during the match. It kind of keeps the pace going. It forces you to go. It keeps time constraints within a reasonable thing for the casual fan who wants to see things. They don't want to get stuck at matches that everything is an overtime match and it drags out. So I think it keeps things at that. I think it's also more marketable as far as like Final X and all that goes, because you had a lot of time for 2 out of 3, and wrestling, we all know, is kind of weird because when parents ask how long does it take, well, it could end shortly, or if every match went into overtime, then it could get even longer. Well, now you know that nothing will ever go past this allotted time, so we have to be able to market it as well. So I like it from that standpoint.
So how does the criteria work for like individual wise now? Like, how does it start? Like, what's the first category?
I mean, the first category like they have is 2-2 score at the end criteria. If you have a takedown and the other person has 2 push-ups, the 2-point takedown is worth more than 2 individual push-outs. If you have a 4-point throw and your score is 4-4, the 4-point throw is worth more than 2 takedowns.
So it kind of goes more impactful, more.
So your point system is kind of weighted. Like a takedown is worth more than a push out. A 4-point throw is worth more than 2 things. Now I have heard the argument that why is it that 1 4-point throw is worth more than 2 takedowns, because we had to work twice as hard to take them down, but you also had to throw.
Throw is pretty difficult.
I think it's just an impressive thing. So. That part of it I don't necessarily mind. I kind of like criteria.
It gives reason to be more spectacular.
It does, and I think it at the end of the period when there's 30 seconds left or 45 seconds left, and you look at the score and you see that it's tied, you know that somebody is winning, and you know that in essence, if for those of you who are diehards that like overtime, that last 45 seconds can be your overtime in the match. We need a clear-cut winner, and it's going to happen.
I'm surprised you didn't make a subcast on that yet.
Because
I'm sitting here thinking about it right now. I was like, the more I was gonna now that I've got a little bit more free time, I was gonna start delving into it more and doing like a pros and cons list. And I was actually probably gonna do it. I don't want to say live, but kind of like in the episode, do it while I'm there, and that way I can like weigh it out, so you can kind of see my train of thought of which I kind of lean more towards.
If you do, let's cut this one right here for that, and then if you do it still, then we'll hit that, and then we'll do that, and we'll go from there. Maybe one of the reasons I hadn't yet is because also lately we're getting ready to start school again, and so things have just been super busy there. But
we're trying to cut this at 30, so
roundabouts for today. So still going with that. Leading into
Chamizo. Or is that,
yeah,
was
yeah,
that
Chamizo.
Oh,
Okay.
snap. I misread it.
I'm kind of
Yeah.
going
Ooh.
upwards now, so no, I'm still pumped for the shoes. Gonna still throw that out there for
Yeah.
Rudis. I can't wait for the shoes to come in. We're almost at September again, like our new year, new season. But Chamizo and Snyder, and with that whole with the shoes with Rudis, are all kind of the in the same little little section I had here. Because one, oh gosh, it's not the Euregan. It was what tournament were they at? It was a tournament in Turkey, the Yazdani.
Mm-hmm.
So they were there, and it's interesting the fact that like Snyder lost, okay, but nobody ever worries because what's great about Snyder, I think, is like he's gone out and he's tried things and he's lost before, but then he comes back and he wins when it's important.
Yeah.
Now during the same tournament, it got a whole lot more talk, and I was wondering, do you think it's fair that like I don't know if it's fair, but like Snyder loses and everybody's like, it's okay, Snyder just lost. Jordan loses and there is the talk of like,
maybe he's getting too old, and
but that's what it's thought. Or like I think the general consensus was like, dude's gonna be on fire when he gets to Worlds. So for those of you who were living under a rock somewhere, or are maybe the casual fan versus the diehard fan, since we've just been talking about that, which there's nothing wrong with the casual fan. It drives things, and we need it. But Chamizo beat Burroughs.
Yeah.
I have watched it over and over. I do not know where the four came from in the scoring, and it drove me crazy. It drove me crazy that particular feed had no audio, so I couldn't hear anything, even though it would be in another language. But just maybe to hear our guys yelling something would give me a clue as to what happened. I don't know how the scoring went weird. Like they said, he exposed, and it was a 4, so it had the criteria thing. So maybe there's a fault against criteria, but. Anyway,
because I think that's what Quasi was getting at. I think that's why he even brought it up, is because he was talking about that matchup. So yeah.
So, but bottom line is, I'm not particularly worried. I think Jordan Burroughs looked great. I think the important thing is Worlds. That match with criteria and everything, the way it led to, but it also caused it like if it was a tie match and it did have overtime, Jordan was on the pressure like it would be overtime.
So you want to know why I don't like that he lost, because I like Burroughs.
I don't want to.
But you know why I'm okay with him losing? It's because the next time they meet, it's going to be a big deal. I mean, it's going to be a big deal regardless. But now it's kind of like, ooh, it's kind of 1-1 in these big scenarios.
Oh yeah,
it's that rubber match.
It's the rubber match. It sells. It's great. It's what we need for wrestling too,
free,
as far
free
as
publicity.
The advertising, the publicity, and all that kind of stuff. And Jordan doesn't mind putting himself in front of that mic. Unlike somebody else, but we won't go back into that because that segment's over now. But I think that's going to be good for wrestling. Now that also leads into, how do you feel about Chamizo coming to the NYCRTC, the Regional Training Center?
So selfishly, I like it because it shows that people want to come here to train, but also at the same time, it's kind of like he reminds me of a soup sandwich. He's a little messed up. I think he's Cuban born.
Yeah.
Wrestles in Italy, trains in America. So it's just kind of like, what are you doing, buddy? But no, I mean, all jokes aside, I've got mixed feelings towards it. But the thing is, at the end of the day, I look at it as, he wanted to come here to train. He thinks that training in New York will improve his game. Yeah, okay. So I do like it for that reason.
So is there anything wrong with him coming to America to come train up?
I mean, you could start getting into the argument of whatever country you wrestle for, stay. It sounds bad, but like train out of that country. But then it's like, then you kind of limit. Then you have you end up.
I think it's a really weird situation in the sense that like, I don't know, like we go to Russia, we go to other places. I think everybody goes to other places to train. I think it's okay, but I don't wonder if it's because it's more of a. It's not like he's coming in for a camp or he's doing something. Yeah, no, it's more like he's coming and he's signed and he'll spend a good chunk of time there. It's unlike, Snyder brings somebody in or we leave and we get somebody to come in for a month or two to train with.
Or Jordan going to Ireland.
It
didn't really happen, guys. It didn't happen.
But, you get somebody to come train with you and training partners, I think, is different than, like, that full force training thing.
Yeah.
And I think we did kind of, as much as I hate relating things to football all the time just because I like to keep it more wrestling-centered, but a lot of people understand football, but it'd be kind of like we said, like a quarterback, like
Tom Brady going to play for the Redskins or something for a game. going to practice with them. It
and
makes
he
no
goes
sense.
to go do all his training there, but then still play for some. I don't know. It's just kind of it's kind of a weird situation in that sense. But then at the same time, like I don't know, like Nick Sirianno's been up there and like he's been hanging out with him and he's got clips of him on his Instagram with him and stuff like that. And I'm like, but dadgum, if it's not good for the wrestling community,
it's not only so it's good for me, but it's good for us as well.
I think it's good for wrestling in general. My greedy sense in the sense, like, on the flip side of it is like, but we're helping somebody possibly take away points from our team.
Yeah,
and our team is the U.S. So
and like that's it comes back down to, it sounds very bad, but it's almost, do you say you can only train in the country for which you wrestle? But then
I don't think so. I'm just being greedy in the sense that this is Jordan Burroughs. I don't want to see Jordan lose, and I don't want to see somebody take points away from our team, because it's not just like my team, like Chattanooga. It's my team, USA. So it's a bigger scale. So I don't like the possibility of our guy losing points that way, and we train that person. But at the same time, the wrestler mindset in me is like, I don't want to just beat you. I want to beat the best possible you. Mm-hmm. I don't want to beat you when you're hurt. I don't want to beat you when you're sick. I don't want to beat you because you were limited on your training, so you have an excuse. I want to beat the best you. So part of me is like, man, let them come. Let them train wherever they want to come train. And that way we can say, my man Jordan Burroughs was able to get the best chamizo there is, no matter where you that wrestler mindset of me says, hey, let it be, man. Let's get these guys to be, and then that builds a greater show too. So a part of me, I think
it's almost kind of, so everyone talks about it's just going to be kind of a little play on Burroughs' name, and talking about the old Lions and all that. It's almost like he's coming into the Lions den. He's coming into Burroughs' house. Kind of. He's not really doing this, but it's almost kind of like, what are you going to do about it? So it's kind of an interesting thing.
Yeah. But I like the idea of, like, I'm going to beat the best you there is, and if that's you coming here, that's fine. I think it's good for wrestling. Although a part of me, like I said, is kind of like, but I don't like to see anybody possibly, being our guy. So, speaking of RTCs, transition. So, you're going to go do the little home run out now. So, Chattanooga, we talked about Kyle Rochelle was becoming the interim coach, and we talked about, I think we even talked about, like, man, who are we going to get, for our new head coach, and we talked about other things there. And as it turned out, so I think they even did an interview process, because I heard that Mike Zadek applied. But, jumping the gun a little bit, so Kyle Rochelle is now officially not just the interim coach, but the official head coach, which is, I think, going to be good for Chattanooga. We talked about a lot of different names. Any of them would have been great, I think. But I think, he's young, he's hungry, he's got good coaching experience. He wants to take the program places. He wants to get an RTC in Chattanooga, which you have heard me say here. Like, I don't want to see us not get one because of Campbell and PC and other players. I just, keeping up with the Joneses sometimes is a good thing. And I didn't want to see us fall behind. He talked about doing that, which I was all on board with. I've emailed him. I like all that kind of stuff. Now, what I'm wondering about is...
you also have Dan Dennis around the area.
Dan Dennis is in the area. So I was like, man, Dan Dennis is in the area.
Wow, man.
Mike Zadek is out at Iowa State, which we kind of had like a whole main conversation about.
Let's put that on the back burner. Or do you want to go ahead and get into it?
We can get into
it. Let's finish what we're talking about with BTC, though.
Getting Mike Zadek there would be kind of cool. Like, I don't know, but it could be just all that kind of stuff. So I just like where we're headed with everything. And especially the idea of the RTC and all that kind of stuff. So, which kind of leads into the Mike Zadek thing, because I know he did apply for the job. I don't know if he applied for the head job as well, because all this is still fairly new. I thought it was interesting that Mike Zadek was out at Iowa State. It kind of caught me off guard. I was like, wow, really? Cause
it caught me off guard.
Because I thought that Dresser brought him in from Virginia Tech. I thought he was with him there. So I thought he had already coached with him. So I didn't think that you would ever bring somebody with you that you were already possibly having headbutts with, like conflicts, change of philosophies or whatever. But whatever happened, they gave him the option to step down or be terminated. He said he was not going to step down, because that would go against his core values. He didn't think he was doing anything wrong, so he got let go. And
I'm sure more will come out later on, but it's very weird that you bring a guy in, you create this entire coaching staff. Because me and him
we're this close to season and stuff too.
Like, me and him have talked about it. We talked about how Iowa State, all the guys that they brought in as far as on their coaching staff, that how they can really start to what's What
I
would
don't
be
know.
the
I
best way
just
to-
think
yeah.
they have like that similar mindset, and they
Yeah,
just
it's
yeah.
like it was a
I thought
good-
it was cohesive unit,
Yeah.
and then to hear that, I was like, oh wow.
It just kind of throws that wrench in there.
I wonder what was going on.
Yeah.
And it had to be out of the room, I think.
And it was so. What you were telling me is that it came down to what they call a conflict of interest. Whether that, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
You
so-
think it could be down like where they thought they should recruit out of? Maybe?
Yeah,
Like,
see, I don't
know.
even think like because like I would imagine everything would be good in the wrestling stuff. Like, was somebody butting heads with somebody and they just having an argument that they couldn't come eye to eye with,
Yeah.
and that was going to start affecting things in the room? I don't know.
Who knows?
It's kind of a crazy thing. So that being said, I'm sure Iowa State will still land on their feet. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
they've
'cause they
got
still
a great
got-
coaching staff
yeah, they
there,
still have
and they'll
great
probably
coaching
pick up
staff.
somebody else. But I'd like to see where Mike Zadok heads, and I don't know. I just really think it would be cool. And again, this is just me homering out. It'd be cool to see like Zadok and Wildman Dan Dennis
Yeah.
like helping out in that area in Chattanooga. Like, oh my gosh, like the potential for things there to be a spot.
I would have to bandwagon so hard.
You know,
I would have to bandwagon.
oh
Really
gosh,
hard.
I mean, can you imagine like Dan Dennis and Zadok like
Yeah.
helping out, whether they're assistants or volunteer assistants, or
Yeah.
or doing the RTC or whatever, like at Chattanooga? I'm like, I don't know. I would love to see something like that happen for Chattanooga. And I would just want to see them continue to grow and where they're going. So
I'm gonna have to
excited
start
about
buying.
Chattanooga stuff.
We're gonna have to buy hats or something that we can
Yeah,
wear. So
we
every
can
time we
start
start to homer, we just put it on. So
we
you
can
know.
change hats a little bit. We'll hang them on the wall where you can't
Yeah.
see, so we can pick them out.
So you know what happens.
Yeah.
You'll
Know
probably
which way
be
we're
better.
headed with this episode. So, but
You can look at the thumbnail and be like, oh, okay.
yeah. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to good stuff with all that, and you know, I'm looking forward to this year in a lot of different ways. We hadn't been on just a little bit because we're prepping for school. School starts on Monday, which means that football season will be ending soon, which means that wrestling season starts soon. I'm just gonna skip all the football season.
It's a willing coma.
You know. But yeah, but we all love football though too.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I love football. I'm
yeah.
excited for football season, but
yeah.
November cannot get here fast enough.
So looking forward to wrestling and looking forward to a new season. Yeah. So new season, new year, new everything. And if we do it right or do like how we're wanting to do here, guys, like our new season, new year, hopefully we kind of expand upon what we started at the end of last season, like with our shows and our talks, and you know we'll try to figure out a day for this to be our regular day. Once, since it'll be a little bit different, maybe when wrestling season starts, you know we might still be able to do either a weekly show or a bi-weekly show, but I was thinking of like if we did a weekly show, we could do like one show after practice with like a little video for some technique in there.
That's actually what I was writing down right there. I don't know if you saw
I
that.
did not see that.
Yeah, that. What are the I said if we were talking about maybe the other day
Yeah.
that starting out we might do one soon. We don't know. Just kind of like a fundamental technique video just to see how it goes. And
yeah, so maybe might be two separate things, might be the same episode. You know, whatever it is we got to do to make that work. So some different location on site stuff.
That's the thing. We're not on the same page. We're in the same sentence.
Yeah. So I did not see him write I saw him writing something. I did not see what it was. You know, we'll still have our reveal episode when the shoes come in, and that one might be one of our first ones, like maybe the episode from the compound upstairs.
Because we'll probably have our shirts on too.
Oh gosh, yeah, it comes with the shirt too. Oh man, I almost forgot about the shirt. Like I've been so excited about the shoes that I've been like completely forgot about the shirt. So, which also reminds me, the other thing I was gonna be like, all right, so my man here, doing a great job. We didn't hit at the beginning, at the end here of the show. Roll Soap, go check him out. Moved out west, still has a great product. Check him out on Etsy. Cerebrus Wrestling to get 10% off, or is it T Curry? Or
yeah, you can just do T Curry. I think
or T Curry. You know, if you want to, you know, doesn't matter. You know, it's all coming from the same network. Is what we're hoping for. Is where we're headed with that. So Cerebrus Wrestling, T Curry, get 10% off, and I'm gonna leave it at that because my man here on his show likes to talk about some weirdness like. Hey, I love the soap, but he's like, yeah, but it makes your toes elastic and stuff. I'm like,
yeah, no, it does. So for me, everyone who knows me, they know I do jiu-jitsu, so you can't wear wrestling shoes in jiu-jitsu, unfortunately, because I wish you could, because I would wear them all the time.
But I'm just like, you know, they just need to know they just need to know the soap is good. They don't need to know about your toes, my man. So I was just listening to that episode and I was laughing. I was like, why is he just promote the soap, man.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. We don't
It's
need to know
great
about your
stuff.
toes, okay?
It's great. It
So-
makes my toes not crack.
Yes, he's talking about his toes again. I don't know why. I can't take him anywhere.
Hey, at least
So,
I'm not taking my shoe off and like holding it up. Probably because I couldn't hold it up even if I wanted
If
to.
he did,
but-
I'd smack him right now. So.
my hamstring would snap if I did. but-
So we might have to, our episode might turn into something else.
Yeah.
But hey, guys, appreciate you on board for another season. I'm excited for it. Oh yeah, and this is my other just PSA for you. I was gonna post something else about this. Hey, it's a new season. If you're in school, if you're out of school or whatever, hey guys, like day and times that we are, be nice to people. Just be nice to people. Like, don't be a bully. Like, that's like one of the worst things anybody can ever do. And it seems in today's day and time we're seeing more of that.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna just sidetrack completely here for a second because I almost did this the other day on a slight part. Don't be a bully. Let's change how we look at things. Be nice to people. Like, just, nobody knows what somebody is going through in their life or where they're at or what's going on. And, I think wrestling is great because it's that spot where sometimes some people need a home and they find it amongst people. And sometimes not having to say a word, but being able to get out there and wrestle with somebody and just like,
Release
just
all that,
wrestling.
yeah.
It's a great thing. So be the guy to encourage somebody and help somebody out. And, and maybe get people to come out to wrestle for you too. Like we always need to up our numbers. But that being said, I kind of have like this other little personal challenge for people.
I've got one too.
It had to do with like, now you see it all the time, and I saw it, and you couldn't help but see it. And there was the people always fight the funny clips of people fighting or somebody happening or something. More times than not, I try not to even look at that because I don't want to promote it in any shape, form, or value. So let's not promote the negative, even if it did come with a funny meme on it that did. I'm a horrible person, made me laugh too, or whichever. But let's try to like find a way to do something without promoting all those things, and that's just a mindset of a teacher coming into a new school year. So that's what I got for you guys.
My challenge is not nearly as profound and deep in that. Mine was because I was talking to you about it upstairs. We've had a discussion. I've talked about it. I think we've talked about it on here. Like, buying wrestling gear, like, it shouldn't be that hard to find. My thing is if you're a wrestling fan, whoever you support in college, this is my only challenge is go buy something from the wrestling team store. Like, one thing. It can be a t-shirt, sweatband, just something to support their program.
Yep.
That's just it's a stupid challenge, but it does give back. It's something that you can do.
And I'm writing down
to
to email some people, like, just as far as gear and other things. It's just awesome to see. You're supporting your program. You're giving back to it. So,
and any coaches out there, if y'all listen to this, if y'all want to
send us a link, we'll post it up there. And send us a shirt to wear with it. We're good with that.
Yeah. Kale Sanderson, if you wanna send us some Penn State gear, we probably won't wear it, but we'll be more than happy to say that you sent us something. And,
but yeah, and hey, we'll get some more stuff out. I was gonna email a guy about some more Cerebra stuff too. So that's just a little side note.
It's just
just
support the sport. That's basically what it boils down.
Yeah, support. I love it. All right, guys, new season. Looking forward to seeing you some more. All right.